Did I tell you about the time I was a gift wrapper and sent to the North Pole? Well, it was years ago. I was a student and I worked as a gift wrapping shop who organized a gift wrapping contest. And to my greatest surprise, I won it. And the first prize was magical. It was a once in a lifetime trip to the North Pole. Yes, the North Pole. So before I knew it, I was sipping hot chocolate in Santa's living room and marveling at the chaos of the workshop. But little did I know that that trip would uncover one of the North Pole most legendary tales. So sit back, take a blanket, make yourself comfortable, and listen. It all began on a crisp December morning during my visit, and Santa workshop was buzzing with the usual energy, and the elves, as always competitive, turned their yearly gift wrapping marathon into a full blown contest. So I asked if I could join. And then one cheeky elf said, "Of course, but let's make it interesting. Let's say the winner gets to steer the sleigh tonight." And at this exact moment, from the other corner of the room, we heard Mrs. Claus saying, "Well, why would Santa have all the fun?" With an amused tone, she announced that she will enter the contest. And no one would have predicted what would come next. As she rolled up her sleeves, she said her favorite quote. I think it was from the legendary aviator Amelia Earhart. It's "Adventure awaits those who dare to steer their own course." The room fell silent for a moment. Everyone exchanged glances, then erupted into cheers, and even Santa, sitting back, stroking his snowy beard and saying, "You've got my blessing, dear. May the best class win." I watched in awe as Mrs. Claus and Santa Claus contested in the gift wrapping, and I witnessed Mrs. Claus dominating the competition. Her precision, her speed were unmatched. Every edge perfectly folded, every ribbon curled with grace and placed perfectly. Even the youngest elf was wondering, "But Mrs. Claus, how do you wrap so fast?" She smiled and said, "Well, little one, with practice. And never be afraid to try." A word seemed to ignite a spark in everyone, and for the first time, the workshop felt full of the magic of possibility. Though this evening, Miss Claus held the reins of the sleigh, her scarf fluttering in the icy wind. "Jingle bells, jingle all the way." She was singing the song that Santa always sings on Christmas Eve. "Jingle bells, jingle all the way." But this time, for the few children who were still alive, still awake, despite the late hour, they heard a voice that was higher pitched than usual and clearly feminine. It was a new sound, but it was warm and full of joy, and as much as magical as Santa's. The reindeer pranced to the rhythm and the bell jingled. Even Rudolph's nose glowed brighter, reflecting the joy of the moment. This evening, as the sleigh returned to the workshop, the elves and Santa greeted Mr. Claus, Mrs. Claus with cheers and applause. Tonight, you reminded us that magic happens when you dare to step into the spotlight, Santa said, giving her a warm hug. And from that day on, in the North Pole, there is a new tradition. Each year, someone new would take the reign, guided by courage, teamwork, and song. So now I will leave you with a question. How many gifts did you think that Mrs. Claus wrapped that day to win the contest? Come on, write down your guesses, and the person who is the closest to the true number will win a trip to the North Pole, just like I did all those years ago. So think boldly, dream big, and maybe you'll find yourself sipping hot chocolate with Santa on next Christmas.